This is WT4TST, and today we're honoured to be joined by Ashley Treasure Theophane. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing very good, my man. I'm doing very good. You okay? You good?
Yeah, good, mate. Just apart from it being absolutely Baltic, freezing, mate. Absolutely freezing out there. You're snowing there, aren't you?
I think it is started to snow here. Yeah, I'm inside, but I think I've seen on the Instagram the snow starting to come down. So I'm inside for the day. So it is what it is.
Mate, do you know what? That is what's wrong with this world, right? You sat inside, right, and you could go up to the window and have a look. It's snowing, but instead, no, I'll go to Instagram. Oh, it's snowing outside.
I know. That's what it was as well. Like on Instagram, like it's snowing. I was like, all right, cool. Because I hate snow though. Like I know I have friends who love snow. They can't wait for it to snow, and yeah, I hate snow. So for me, I'm not really glad that it is here because it just means it's cold. Then it's going to turn to slush. Then it's going to turn to ice. Yeah, it's annoying.
Right, mate, let's get into it. So, first time on TST, what we like to do is go back to your childhood, really, and understand who you are behind the gloves. Because a lot of the time, we do, boxing interviews are just like, right, who have you fought? And we'll get into all that. But I think it's important to understand you as a person first. So, take us back to 1980, Paddington, London.
So yeah, I was born in Paddington. And yeah, my childhood was all right. Like when you're young, you don't really know much. But going back, see, it's weird. So I wrote my book and I talk about my childhood and I say that I was poor, my mom and dad, this and that. And my mom was like, we wasn't poor, it wasn't that bad. So my mom, because maybe she don't want me to air out our life as kids, to me, I always remember school when like the school kids would get all the big like toys and stuff when it came to getting gifts, and I didn't really have nothing to say because I wouldn't really get the gift that I want. So for me, I hated when it came to that, and like they said, so what did you get? What did you get? I didn't want to say what I got because it wasn't really anything. I might have got some underwear or like, you know what I mean, some clothes or something like that. So I would say I had what I needed, but I didn't get what I wanted as a kid. So I guess, my mom and dad, they done their job. I just didn't get the extras that I think a lot of kids nowadays. I think even if you're poor nowadays, you seem to still be all right. Like, I mean, over here, like you can be poor and you got Sky and stuff. Like, how can you afford Sky and you ain't got a lot of money? But I guess that's just how it is now. They are poor compared to a lot of other folks. Poor is not the same. You know what I'm saying? But it's poor for here.
Yeah, no, great point. If you think of like some of the African countries or whatever, that is poor poverty, isn't it? You're just talking about maybe not getting the things you wanted, but absolutely got what you needed. Spot on, mate. So, what about school? How was school for you? Were you a little rebel? I bet you were.
You know what? It's weird. Like, my school seats. Like for me, I got a stutter. I stutter. So from when I was a kid, I used to stutter. So I kind of was quiet. I kind of was quiet because I didn't want them to pick me out to say to come and read the book in the front. So I kind of was quiet in school, but I got in. It was weird. I used to get picked on because I started to like box when I was around 8 years old, just say. And so I got picked on, but I could box, but I never fought back. I used to because I knew I could do. So sometimes I got into fights, but a lot of times I just let it ride. Like so, I wasn't that, but it's weird. I'm saying that I wasn't that bad, but I did have to go to a place for kids who was bad. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I think I wasn't bad like as I think back now as a little kid, but when I was around 8 years old as well, I started to go to it was like a place. You went to another school, but they had a class there for kids that was misbehaving, and a lot of the guys who I went there with, a lot of them they ended up going to jail and stuff. A few of them they turned their life around and stuff. They living great, but some of them did go to things. So it was weird. Like we had a class of just bad kids, and then you would go back to school and stuff afterwards. Like so. It was cool. That's why I learned how to bake. So that was actually cool as well. I learned how to bake there. So I can still bake now. So it's cool.
Bake, yeah?
Yeah, bake. So I like sweets and cakes and stuff. So for me, it's great. I don't always have to go to the shop. I can just bake a cake.
Yeah, mate, but that's not good when you're trying to make weight, is it?
It's not. So that's why I stopped kind of like while I did fight and stuff. It was annoying. See, 'cause I only learned how to see. I'm Jama before. I learned how to bake when I was like eight years old, but I didn't learn how to cook until I was 25 years old. So it's weird. Weird.
What's the difference?
Exactly. At that time, I just used to bake cakes. It's only when I'm going in the foreigner. It's only when I went to the USA, and then I used to go out to eat all the time. And then I was like, "Yo, mum, like this stuff is starting to add up. Like, how do I cook a meal?" And then she said, "Like it's just like you bake a cake. You get the ingredients and stuff. You play about this, that." So then the next time I went to the USA, I started to bake and stuff because I didn't have a lot of cash then, and that's how I learned how to cook. Like while I was away. So yeah, it's weird.
That's good.
Since I was a grown man, like on my own, did I learn how to cook?
I thought you were going to say when you rang your mum, how do I cook? Sure, you go to the shop, buy that, put it in the microwave, press 2 minutes, and you're done.
No. I know my mum could actually cook, so yeah, I didn't get that.
Right, so Paddington, mate. Paddington, tough place, early 90s? Streets?
It's weird. See, when I know folks who's not from there, they think it's a nice area because it looks nice. You wouldn't think of it as being the hood, as we say. But there's people who get killed, there's drug deals that go down. So for me as a poor kid, there was a lot, like those were the folks who I looked up to, like were the guys that were doing crime because they were the guys who I knew who were doing well. So so for me as a teenager, I used to look up to the guys that had the gold, the cars, the cash, and they were criminals, and that's how I kind of got involved in that kind of lifestyle for some years of my childhood. So
How old were you then when you were talking about, what, 12, 13?
I would say 13 to 20 years old, because 20 years old is when I went jail, and then I turned my life around. So so that amount of time. So when my younger years.
So when you say you went to jail, what? And then you said you come out and so I talk to a lot of people that say, yeah, I went to jail, came out, and actually nothing really was different. What within that time? You said you've changed your life. Did jail make you change your life, or was that an attitude change in you?
It was an attitude thing. Because basically, I could box. I boxed from when I was a kid. I wanted to go and to be a pro, and just basically, I went to jail for armed robbery, and I was facing like 5 to 8 years, and so I'm in jail. I'm with these young guys as well who are they're going down for 10 years for life. And I'm like, yo, like we're like 18 years old, 20, like we're young kids, and we're getting like guys will go away to court, will come back, and then you hear what they got, and you're like, damn, like some of them might go into their cell, might cry, whatever it was, and then you're like, shit, like this can't be me. So I basically said, like, while I was in jail, if I get out, like if I bust my case, that boom, I'm coming off the roads. I'm just gonna go to the gym home. So it came to my trial. I got found not guilty, and then I just kind of isolated myself away from the crowd that I was around, and basically just went to gym back home, whatever, and that's kind of what it was. But but that it's weird in life. It's easy. Sometimes you have a choice if you want to go left or right, and it's very easy. I could have continued to live the life that I was thinking, and then I wouldn't have achieved whatever I've achieved like to this day. So it's very easy for guys, like in your life, there's a time where you have a choice to make. Do you want to continue doing what you are doing and go down this road, or do you want to actually change your life, or like put in more work to achieve the actual thing that you like to do and you believe you could think? So it's just very like looking back, like my life could very have been the opposite to what it is now.
You could have been in prison all your life, couldn't you? If you
Yeah, 100%. I know guys who is just in out here, and they just don't know how to change. But that's all they know.
So you said you were in prison then, and you went for a trial, but you were not guilty. How long were you in prison for then before you got your trial?
6 months from June to December. I come out just before Christmas. I think it was a week before Christmas. I'm home for Christmas.
Yeah, but you must think back of that 6 months going, right, I've just done that for no reason if I've now been found not guilty, no?
Yes and no. All right, so basically, I can say that the courts, they wasted six months of my life because they put me in jail for a crime I didn't commit. Or I could say how if it wasn't for that time in jail, that I wouldn't have been so strong to step away from being around like that kind of crowd. So even though they did waste like 6 months of my life, without that time, I probably would not have just been so like I'm on my own. I'm gonna do this and that. I'm not going back to jail. You know what I mean? So yeah, so that's kind of how I look at it. You know what I mean? So
in a different way, then I guess a different way. What you're saying is the court saved your life.
Yeah, but you know what the bad thing is? Like when we were going to court, it was me and I had my co-D. There was two of us going to court, and at the very start, the police are saying that we done this crime, we had the gun, this blah blah blah, and the judge, who is supposed to be like you have to wait till the trial, he basically said he's not giving me bail because I'm a criminal. I'm like, you can't say that before trial. You don't know if I am. And then I think it was like once a month, we would I would try to get bail because my co-D, he actually got bail. So I was there on my own for like 4 months, which I was annoyed. And then so it's weird. We would go to bail, and there was this police officer who knew me as a kid, and he used to keep coming back and saying, "Don't let this man out. I've known him for so many years. He shouldn't be on the streets. Like, we have to lock him up." And they kept me in jail. Like, he always came. So, it is what it is, because there are, like me now, I've changed my life. There are guys who need to be in jail. So sometimes you need to do that. But, I don't think I was that bad. But I guess the crowd I was with, they was that bad, because some of them went on to kill guys and all of that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Right, good. Right, let's get into boxing, shall we? The reason why
I know.
It's a good start because it gives people when we get to the end of this, you can look back and actually, I bet you've inspired, especially your book. Maybe not this, but your book. You'll have inspired people. People will look at your story and go, Jesus, if he can do that, then I can. So no, it's all good, mate. Right. So, amateur boxing. You said you started at 8. Talk us through what that looked like for you.
So I started at All Stars Gym. I stayed there for maybe 3 years. It was fun. Like I had so much fun. Like the rest of my friends, my family, they used to kick ball. I wasn't really good at it, but I used to love the box. So I would just go and box. And I left All Stars at 10 years old because there was another guy there, and he was like the young star of the gym, and he started to have fights. And I was like, why can't he fight and I can fight? So like the owner was like you were too young, blah blah blah. But I thought he was lying. I'm like, this guy's the same height as me. I thought we was the same age, but he was like 2 years older than me. So I went to Stowe Club for 5 years. I had 3 fights there. Then I got into a fight there, and then they threw me out. So then I came back to All Stars, and then I started to box there. And I went for the ABAs like 3 times, but my divs was just hard. I would always fight like some youth champion, some England boy. So I never got through. And but it was weird. I hated the amateurs, and I couldn't wait to turn pro. But my coach would always say, you're not mentally strong enough yet to turn pro, because these are grown men that you're going to fight. So so amateurs, I didn't really enjoy it, but you had to do that before you turn professional.
So we'll just skip straight to pros then. 2003, York Hall, your debut, June, I think it was. Can you remember it?
Yes. Still one of the highlights in my career. Yeah.
Go on and tell us, what were you feeling at that point? York Hall debut.
So I was at York Hall, and I just kind of remember being backstage and just staring at myself in the mirror, saying, like, it's now, Ash. Like, I was like 22 years old, I think, and I was like, now is the time. You've always wanted to do this. It's your time. You know, when you give yourself the pep talk. So that basically was it. And then I went out there, and a lot of the era came. It was just, I always remember it was just so loud in there. And it was a great fight. It was a hard fight because the guy came to win. He was like 3-1, I think. He had just lost his first fight, so he had came to win. So we just fought hard, and then I stopped him in the third or fourth round, I think. And it was a hard fight, but it was a great way. It was a great way to start my career. And even as we got out of the ring, one of the guys in charge on the BBOC, they goes, why didn't he stay amateur to go to the Olympics? And then, but the crazy thing was, I never got no love from the amateur guys. So that's why I was like, I couldn't stay. Like, I tried to go for my dad's homeland, because I couldn't get into the England team here. They wouldn't give me no trials. They wouldn't give me a shot. And I would lose a lot. So it was weird. The way the amateurs is, it's like if you go to a man's hometown, you basically have to kill the guy to beat him. Like, it was weird. I don't know if it's changed, but back in the day, if you went away, it was hard for you to get a away win. Like, so it was more likely that you would win if you fought on a neutral ground. But as well, I always fought a lot of top boys. Like, our club was like the club that the guys, they used to call and say, oh, do you have anyone like to fight our guys? So we was like the journeyman club at a time, because they were just like the top guys would like just beat us up. So we went for a while where All Stars wasn't really winning a lot of stuff, because All Stars, they had some ABA champions like in the 80s and stuff, but the 90s that kind of calmed down, and it wasn't really that. But yeah, so it was weird. I don't know why. I just started to talk. Sorry.
It's all right, mate. So I was just thinking, what you said, you didn't have a lot of love from, the amateur days, but I don't think you felt like you had a lot of love from the UK anyway, did you? Which takes us to you being 24, getting on a plane, going to New York, right, with no cash behind you. What are you thinking?
So basically, I started the sport because of like USA. Like, my dad used to watch a lot of the big fights, and I started to watch with him, and I wanted to do it. So I had always wanted to go to the USA to try to box, to try to get a fight there. So I think I had lost one fight at the time. I think I had lost one fight, and then I went over there. I think I was 9-1, something like that. I was 9-1, and I was like, now is the time. I don't want to lose again, and then they won't sign me up there. So I went to Gleason's gym. I went out there for a month, and I just wanted to spar there, to train. I just wanted to learn. I went there for a month to learn, to work with the guys over there, and they just showed me so much love. Like, but the funny thing is, the sparring, them guys there were on some, that kind of made me tough as well. They was on, because we're over here, like, you're cool with the guy, you'll go in to spar, your friends, you right, mate? There, it was like, because everyone was trying to get a break, it was like kill or be killed in the sparring. So it was harder than the actual fights that I was having at the time. It was like kill or be killed. So
that's good though, isn't it? That's good prep.
But it's a major shock, you know what I mean? It's a major shock when you come from, when you're cool with the guys you spar with and stuff. Then you go there, like I remember there was one guy, he picked me up and he threw me on the ground. I was like, what the fuck's going on? Like, we're sparring. Like, what the, like, and I'm not from there. So I'm trying to be on my best behavior here, because I don't want to get nicked or shot by police or whatever. So I'm just trying to like be on my best behavior. And then look, I got in, me and I sparred with Paulie. I don't know if you know about this, but so at that same time, like it was that same time, and then my coach, I said, "Who's this guy?" Because he said, "Oh yeah, you can spar this guy today." I said, "Is he any good?" He said, "It doesn't matter. Just go in there, and if he does anything to you, you do it back to him." So that was like the same week that this guy had thrown me on the floor and stuff, and I kind of went in into my show, and my coach was like, "If he does that, if he hits you low, you hit him back low. Like, you don't act like no bitch in there." Like, so they were very like strong. And I was just like, okay. Like, you know, I was like, okay. So yes, I sparred with we sparred. I didn't know who he was at the time because he hadn't fought Cotto yet. So it was before his fight with Cotto. And so we went in the ring, and then he started to say that I hit him low, blah blah blah. So we got into some altercation and stuff. So it was just weird that I had come from enough, and like, I've just come here to spar with these Americans, and I'm getting to arguments with all of these guys, and we're just sparring. So it was, but in the long end, like, I made friends with everyone there, and it was nice for me being from here. And whenever I went back to New York to Gleason's gym, they would always say, welcome home, welcome back. So I felt more at home there than I felt at home, because when I came back home, the promoters didn't give a fuck about me. But then when I'm over there, they're like, yeah, this kid can fight. He's good, man. He could be a champ. So when you got all these guys saying that you could be champion, but then you come back home and then you don't get no love and this and that. And the funny thing was, I was signed to Dave Coldwell, like, at the time. And Dave Coldwell couldn't do what he had agreed to do beforehand. We had made a deal. I think it was for 3 years. He said he was going to do A, B, C. He didn't do it. So I tried to leave the contract, and he wouldn't allow me to. And there was a guy in New York that wanted to sign me because he had seen that I had sparred with his guy, and his guy was like a world champion and this and that. And he was like, if you can like do good against him, and I was still a kid. He wanted to sign me, but then Dave wanted some crazy cash off him, blah, blah, blah. So then I had to stay with Dave. So then I went to the board to try to get away from Dave. But then the board was saying that Dave is trying to get me fights, so I can't leave him. But they basically said that I can take on my career, but I just have to give him the percentage, his managerial percentage, until the contract's done. So for the next year and a half, I kind of just took. That's why, if you look at the start of my career, I take small fights because I had to pay him his cash, and I refused to take a fight where he was going to make some cash off me. So I would just take the little small hook fights just to keep active, keep going to America, and then just give him the little cash that I had to give him. So that's kind of what kind of stalled me like for a bit. But then I think my first big fight, you haven't mentioned it, but it was with Alan Bosworth. That was my breakout fight in the UK.
So we're about to go into that fight. Tell us about it.
All right. So basically, I'd taken all of these small fights because I had to pay Davies cash. And so then when the 3-year deal was done, I now could take a real fight. And then I got offered the Alan Bosworth fight because he had just beaten Matthew Hatton. So so this is where it gets real. He had just beaten Matthew. So I'm a guy who, I think I'm 18-2 at the time. I'm fighting nobody. So they're like, this kid's fight. He's built up at 18-2. He hasn't fought no one. The 2 times he fought some, and he lost to 2 guys who wasn't even good. So they're like his 18-2 don't mean shit. But they didn't know, one, the 2 fights I lost, I thought I won. And I had been going to the USA now for, I think it was like 2 years. So I had been sparring with all of these world ranked guys, these world champions. I've been getting coached by some good guys over there. So mentally, like, I was better. I was better than what my 18-2 was. So and so this fight was on Sky, and they wanted Alan Bosworth to fight Lenny Dawes, because Lenny Dawes, he was the British champion then. So we was on the same card. Junior Witter was the main event. And again, it's like, this is my big break. It comes from like 4 years before, when it was my first fight, where Ash, you boys wanted to be a pro. Like, this is your time now, your first fight. Then to 20 fights on, that I'm gonna fight a British title eliminator, like on Sky Sports, like it's big. And this guy, they say he's gonna beat me, but because he had fought a who's who of the sport, but they didn't know that I was very good. So we went in there, and I basically played with him for the 8 rounds or whatever it went by. And so I won by KO. And then on Sky Sports, you got all of the commentators saying like, "Oh, we've never seen this guy, we've never heard of this guy." And I'm like, "I've always been here, you just never showed me no love." But then Mick Hennessy, who I promoted that fight, I obviously looked too good. And Dawes lost that time. He lost to Barry Morrison. So I was trying to fight Barry Morrison. Barry Morrison, he wouldn't fight me. I think he fought Lyons instead. Lyons beat him. I tried to fight Lyons. Lyons wouldn't fight me. I think Young Mutley beat Lyons. Young Mutley did. So around that time, like, I was here trying to fight for the British, but none of these guys who was British champion like would give me a shot, because I was unknown, but I could actually fight.
So at that point, then, I want to go into a few different fights.
Yeah, go on.
So the first one I want to talk about, one is the Lenny Dawes, but that's in a little bit, so rewind a little bit. Danny Garcia, 2010, Texas, split decision.
Yeah, like the weird thing is, I didn't even want to take the Lenny Dawes fight. I had just joined some management team in the USA, and things had become strained because I joined them, I think 6 months beforehand, and they wasn't getting me no fights. So there was 2 fights that they offered me. They said I could fight this Garcia kid who they say is going to be a star. And then there was another champion, a guy who used to be champion, Kendall Holt. So I got offered to fight Kendall Holt as well. But I wanted to fight him because he used to be world champion. So I would have preferred to fight him because it was a bigger name to fight. But then my management team said, "Nah, the Garcia kid, if you beat him, you'll get a free fight deal with Golden Boys." So to fight him. And I was kind of pissed at the time because Hope lost his fight to Mabuza, Kaiser Mabuza. So I was like, that would have been me. I would have won the fight. So anyway, I go into this Garcia fight. I didn't really think much of him, like going into fight. I watched him. I was like, he's just KO'd guys he is supposed to kill. So I was like his first step up. And so the first 3 rounds, I just went in there to box him because I knew that he's young and dumb. He's just going to try to come in there to KO me as well. And I'm like, I'm not going to stand there for you to. So I just boxed him. And then I think when he actually did hit me, I think he did hit me in like the 4th round or so. I was like, oh, he's not that strong. So then I just started to put my hands up and started to walk him down. And I kind of enjoyed the fight. There was one time that he did hit me clean. That was a nice shot. But I thought I had done enough to win. But at the same time, I know the sport now. When you fight a guy on his promoter's show, like you're not gonna get the result like 9 times out of 10. And that's what it was. But the good thing is, most people who watch that fight, they believe I won the fight. And even when I signed to Floyd Mayweather, that was a big thing why he signed me, because he found out that I had won the fight. Everyone in the gym was saying that Ashley won, blah, 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 blah. So, the guys in America, wherever I go, even there was one time I was in the gym. The first time I met Crawford. He came up to me. It was before he was champs. I think this was like 2014. He came up to me and he said, like I saw you with Garcia. You won that fight, blah, 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 blah. So this is what I'm saying. When in America, like majority of folks know that I really won the fight, but it just is what it is. That is the sport. So yeah, you just have, I think when these things they go down, you just have to move on. You can't let it eat you up. It is what it is. You go back to the gym, you just train hard, and you go on to the next one. But at the same time, that loss to Garcia, even though it was a loss, it helped me through my career because people knew I won. Because straight after that, because Khan fought him, and Khan got KO'd, and I thought Khan was going to win that fight. But the sad thing is, when Khan was going to fight that fight, is you would think that it was on Sky Sports, that Sky Sports would interview the only British guy that fought him as well. So they would interview, but Sky had always done that. Sky didn't show me no love, didn't interview me. I was thinking, that's weird. Why wouldn't you interview me? He fought a Brit before. You know what I'm saying? I'm the perfect guy to talk about that fight. There's another Brit who's gonna fight him. But it was weird. Even when I was British champion, Sky Sports never had me on Sky to interview me. But as soon as I lost the British belt, they had the guy who beat me, they had him on the next week. I was like, this is where I know the people who run in Sky, whoever it is, they obviously don't like me. It is what it is. So hence, you just have to move on, man.
Did you ever find out why?
I spoke to it was a guy. I spoke to the guy like who was in charge of that kind of stuff, and he told me because Sky did have me on because Spencer got me on Sky twice, like while he was on the Toe to Toe show, and there was a next time I was on there as well. So I spoke to the guy who was in charge of all of that stuff, and he said he's bad, innit? He said he's bad, you know, he's bad. Right, well, grudge, innit? It's life, and you can't really like let it eat. Yeah. I speak of it now, but I haven't got no grudge. It's life, man. I don't really care. It's what it is.
Right, this
I'll call it out though. I'll call it out. I'll call out Sky. I'll call out Dave. Like if you've done me wrong, I will never forget it, and I will keep talking about it. I let it go though. I don't hold no grudge. I let it go. Yeah,
whatever. Right, the next one. It's got to be the Lenny Dawes fight for me. Wembley Arena. That must have been one of your favourite memories, no?
See, all right. So this is weird. So you have to think. I won the British title eliminator 4 years before. 4 years before. So I was supposed to be British champion 4 years before that. I was good enough to be British champion 4 years before that. So when I got the British title fight, I had just beaten the world number 3. Like in America, he was going to fight Canelo in his next fight, but I was his warm-up fight before Canelo, and I upset him. So I'm beating the world number 3, so I can get a world title shot. Why do I really care about fighting for the British? Like, why? I don't need it. But so again, Hennessy Sports, they can't contact me. Say, do you want to fight this guy like who was British champion? I won't say his name. So I goes, nah. I said, why am I gonna fight him? And I've just beaten like the world number 3. That don't make no sense. So they goes, you're not gonna fight. I'm like, you ain't gonna fight. They must have named some big guys. You're not gonna fight him. And I goes, the only fight that I will come back to the UK for is Dawes, because Dawes was British champion then. So I said, me and Dawes, we were supposed to fight 4 years ago when I was an amateur. Dawes was the man. He won the ABAs. He was like in the England team. Dawes was the man. So even he beat Lee Beavis. Lee Beavis beat me in the divs. And Lee Beavis, he was an England boy as well, but they had such a good fight. But Dawes won. I was like, wow, like these guys are good. So I always said, this is like 98, 99. I said, one day I want to fight this guy Dawes because like he's good. He's going to be a good pro. So it's weird again. I actually got offered to fight Dawes for my first pro fight. But I told my guy that I'm not going to fight him on my first pro fight because I'll never win in a 4-round fight. I'll wait till it's for like a belt. So what's that? 8 years down the line, we actually fight. And so a lot of British fans, they were saying, they were kind of mad at the way that I spoke in my interviews, because I was saying, I just beaten the world number 3. So I was saying, I'm just coming back to beat the British champion, then I'm coming back to America. And a lot of British fans, they didn't like that. And I was like, when I've never been shown love here, like, why would I stay in a place I'm not shown love, not getting no fights? So anyway, I came back to fight Dawes. Yeah, and for me, fighting Dawes was more to prove the promoters wrong and the British industry wrong. That I turned pro here. I turned pro here in 2002. I didn't make my debut till 8 months late. So it took me 8 months to get my first pro fight. So I had never been shown love here. So for me, it was more of a fight to prove the industry wrong. That you never backed me, and you know what I mean. It is what it is. So I come back, I fight Dawes, and the funny thing again, I trained so hard, but I was sick. Fight week, I was fucked. So I was fucked. So I stayed. So we had to go to the prep. They had a press conference. They had some major stuff on the fight week. I didn't turn up because I was like, I don't want him to see me like this. I don't want to give him a boost. So I didn't turn up. So then the board being the board, they give me like the phone call, like, you were supposed to go, blah, 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 blah. And I said to them that, and I knew this was going to come down. I went to my GP to get a sick note so you can't find me or anything. So I got the sick note. So the board, they phoned me up. They tried to go at me. You were supposed to do this. You could get fined, blah, 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 blah. And I said to them that I got a sick note to prove that I actually am sick. So then the board, I'll never forget this. He said, why are you making the excuses up already? So even the board didn't believe that I was going to win. So I basically won that fight just to prove them wrong. So the whole industry, the British Commission, British promoters, British fans, never showed me love, not giving me, and again, I didn't understand why this guy who was British champion, ranked, like, he wasn't even ranked high in the world, how you got him favorite to beat me? Like, I've been fighting better guys. You can look at my record before that, win or lose. I was fighting better guys. I was based in America, sparring with world champs. How is this guy going to beat me? But it's okay. I bet some money on me, so I made some extra money as well. But like, it's just crazy. So anyway, I win the fight. So that's why you see at the end, I jump. If you see the snap of me, I jump up in the air because I just can't believe that they gave it to me on points. And again, I talk with Steve now. Steve Bunce, he's mad cool. But again, Steve Bunce, you listen to the commentary. He was biased as fuck. He was like, go into America don't mean that you're good. It doesn't mean anything. Yeah, you've been in some American gyms. Who cares? He's losing this fight. He's not throwing enough. And then it's weird. And then few rounds go by. They change their tune. They're saying the same thing now. He's gone to America. He's sparred with all these world champs. This is why he's doing this, why he's doing it. I'm like, man, I watched it back. Like, it'll never go. And I'm like, yo, you guys, man, bias. You might be the main guys over here, but crazy bias, man. So anyway, I won that fight. And then it was weird. The next kind of day, Frank Warren, he wanted to sign me. So I met Frank Warren, went to his office and stuff. But the reason why I never signed with Frank, all he spoke about, Frankie Gavin. They wanted me to fight Frankie. I was like, I don't give a fuck about no Frankie. One, I've just beaten the world number 3 in America. I've come back here. I've just beaten the British champ. Like, give me some big fights. I don't give a fuck about no amateur I don't care about fighting some amateur star. Like, so he just kept saying, yeah, you could give up the belt and then we'll give you some other belt to fight for, blah, 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 blah. So I actually like the meeting with Frank, and whenever I've met Frank, he's been mad cool. So I like Frank Warren. Like, there's other promoters who think they run shit, but I actually prefer Frank Warren. I think that Frank Warren, he's done some great things for the sport in this country. But so I go away, and then I got offered some fights in America, but they wasn't very big. So then I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna keep the British belt, and I was like, it's easy cash, because I was like, these British guys, they're never gonna beat me. Like in my mind at that time, like I was in my peak, and I was kind of getting offered fights to fight Lamont P to Sun and those kind of guys at that time. You know what I mean? So my mind was like, I'm on the big boy league, but I'm gonna keep this belt just to get some cash and just stay active. And so yeah, so I had the belt, and I think as my British title reign, I don't really think I fought that good, because mentally I would go off to America for 2-3 months, be around like the world's best, sparring the world's best, all these big names in the sport. Then I'll come back home to fight guys I never heard of or never seen fight. Like, so I would never kind of be up for the fight because I just wanted to win. So I would be in great shape, but I would never really perform. I had no kind of fear in me, because I was like, I'm better than these guys. These guys really ain't as good as me. So that's why I think my British title defenses, I didn't really fight good, because I had no fear, and I didn't really respect the guys that I was going in the ring against.
So do you think part of that was arrogance as well then at that time?
You could call it whatever you want to call it. Like, I just believed in myself. You know, I had fought some of the world's best at that time. I'd won some, or I had been robbed. So of course I'm gonna. And then you go in and see a guy that you think you were raw against, beating all these name brand guys. You're like, I don't even have a promoter. If I had a promoter, like, I could be doing this as well. Like, but I'm just on my own, just, you know what I mean? I'm just like freelance. I'm just freelance all over the world. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, you know what I mean? Just, yeah. So it was just what it was. So yeah, but it's weird. I'm gonna go into this because this is gonna help us get to another stage. So imagine, as I said, I was British champion, but I didn't really have no fear to fight the British guys. Like, you know, no motivation was not there. But then one of the best things that went down to me, even though I think I was still robbed 8 years on, was when I lost the British. Because when I lost the British, if it wasn't for me losing that British, I would never have joined TMT.
Why?
Because when I lost the British, you can kind of say that 8 months or so whereby I got no fights here. Hearn had just come in there, because Hearn had tried to sign me as well, and I was British, but he offered me the least out of all of the. So I actually signed with Hatton for 18 months. But Hatton, it was weird. I signed with Hatton, and it was kind of bad. I signed with Hatton. It's in my book. Everything I'm saying here is in my book. So I signed with Hatton. I went to his house, met his family. He told me that, yeah, he's going to do this and that for me. Signed with him for 18 months. Didn't do shit. Didn't fight on one of his shows. It's sad, though. It's someone who has been such a great British guy in the sport that, you know, you sign with the man and then you don't give you no fights. And I was supposed to be on his comeback. So the last straw was that I was supposed to fight on his comeback fight when he lost, but they had me as a floater. So when he lost, I was supposed to fight before him. Then I was supposed to fight straight after him. When he lost, the show was over. They didn't give a fuck about the show no more. So I didn't fight. So I was like, yeah, this guy, I've been with him for 18 months, no fights all the way through the 18 months. Like, when it would be like to bid for the fights, they wouldn't bid for the fights. And then when I'm supposed to fight on his show, I don't even fight on his show. I was like, yeah, like, I'm out here. So I basically couldn't get no love here. Hearn didn't want to give me no fights. Frank Warren didn't want to give me no fights. Like, I had nowhere to go here. So I would have had to retire like 2013 or whatever it is. So then I was like, yo, I had gone to Floyd Mayweather's gym for 2 weeks. And I trained out there and stuff. He had spoken cool to me. So I thought, you know what? I just saw that Ishe Smith had just won the world belt. Ishe Smith was like 2 years older than me. So I was like, and he had like kind of the same career as me. So I was like, shit, if Ishe Smith can like win it, then I could probably win it too. I was like, Floyd gave him love as an older guy. So I flew over there. And then the first day I was back, like Floyd was like, oh, you come back. I was like, oh shit. He remembered me, like a whole year had gone by. He had remembered me. So then I booked for a month. And then that month had gone so well, he had started saying that, yeah, like I want to get you fights. I know that you beat all of these guys. And so I extended it to another month because he was training to fight Guerrero. So I stayed for the whole of his camp. Sometimes I'll go out for runs with him. There'll be sometimes he would watch me spar. And then he just said, yeah, that I want to help you, blah, blah, blah. So after his fight with Guerrero is when he said to all the guys around, yeah, like, this is my British guy. I got guys from all over the world. This Ashley Treasure, like, this is my guy, blah, blah, blah. So that's what, so again, as we've spoken, never got no love at home, but every time I went to the USA, they showed me love and they gave me opportunities.
Are you close with Floyd still?
We're still cool. Like when he came last year in March on his little tour thing. Like I went to meet the guys and stuff. So I still got a good relationship with them. Like I'm still cool with all the guys from TMT. So it's all right.
No, it's good, mate. All through this, you've basically, it's almost like you see USA as your home. Kinda.
Well, that's where I got shown. Wherever you're going to get shown the most love is where you're going to feel at home. And, you know, when you come back to it. And the weird thing was, even though I'm going to miss some stuff, you're going to make me go back. I left Mayweather Promotions. I love being in America and the lifestyle that I had. It was great. But I could have finished in two minds, I wanted to finish my career with Floyd because it was a great way to end my career. But I still wanted to fight back home and I wanted to do like a world tour for me. So those were the two reasons why and as well, what forced me to leave, because the last 2 years of my deal, or 2 of the years, I'd only had like 1 fight a year. And I'm a guy who's used to being active. So because of that, I was like, you know what? I'm getting older. I want to retire soon. I might just leave now, just do my little tour thing and just fire back home and I can retire. So it kind of wasn't, it was like 2 ways I could have retired. I could have retired with Floyd, or I could have retired doing my world tour and trying to fight back home. And that's kind of the way it went in the end. You know what I mean? So hence I left Mayweather Promotions, but there was no bad vibes because I left to continue my career. Like they know the sport. It is where it is. I said, you got all these young guys, blah, blah, blah. They just done a show, I think, last night. So I said, you got all these young guys. I'm one of the older lot. Like, let me bounce because I had a year left. I just over a year left. So I left. I went to do my thing. And it is where it's a hence we're still cool because I've never really said no bad shit about them. So like there's no reason why we wouldn't be cool.
That's good, mate. Right, we'll rewind a little bit then. So
yeah. I went to the end.
2016, Broner. So how did it make you feel when he didn't make the weight?
I kind of didn't care because I was just thinking, all I said to the guy that was in charge of my affairs at the time, make sure I get my money. That's all I said. Make sure I get my money. Because I know if you don't make weight, that's a 10% deduction. That's a 10% that can go to me or whatever. So all I said straight afterwards, I don't care if you don't make no weight, go get my money. And that was the conversations like afterwards. So it was only 4 ounces. So it wasn't even really much. But I guess because he tried to lose weight so late, that's why when he blew up big. And I didn't, because I had made weight like slowly, I didn't really blow up big. So when we are in the ring, he looks much bigger than me because he done it late weight. Yeah. It is what it is. So I didn't really have an issue that he didn't make weight. I didn't really care because I still could win the belt, and you know, I still believed I could win.
What's he like? Is he because on social media he comes across as a well, I won't say what he comes across as, but is that just a bravado, or is he a nice guy, or?
See, all right. So for me, I first met him in 2013, and 2013, yeah. And sir, anytime that I've met him before our fight and after our fight, he's always been cool with me. Like he's always been cool with me. So I haven't really got no issues with him. He helped me. He didn't have to fight me. He called me out when he's world champion. I wasn't even ranked in the world. And he said, yeah, I'm gonna go. And I always remember this. When he called me out, he said, yeah, that I want to fight this Ashley Treasure. Like, folks was like, who's Ashley Treasure? Like, he's not even, like, everyone's calling, who's Ashley Treasure? So, like, it's weird. I wasn't even, but it shows the way that this sport is. I wasn't even ranked. This world champion said he wants to fight this unranked guy. And then by the fight time, I'm ranked fifth in the world. So, like, to me, it was deserving because I had won. I had what I'd done through my career. I deserved a world title shot, and for me, AB helped. Even though I didn't win the fight, I would have loved to have won, but it would have hurt me even more if I had retired and I hadn't fought for the world belt after beating the world number 3, and you're so close to fighting for the belt. And you don't get it, and sparring with so many world champs and holding your own, and even with Floyd, I sparred with Floyd, and Floyd would always say, if you can bring this form from the gym to the ring, like you would be world champion. So, you know, people in the gym, they always believed that I could be world champ. So if I didn't fight for the belt, that would have hurt me more. At least, even though I don't like the result and the way it got stopped, at least I fought for the world belt because to me, I deserved it like years before I was even with Floyd Mayweather. But Floyd was the one that helped me achieve a goal of mine.
Good stuff, mate. So just before your last fight, I spoke to Sam Eglinton, right? Just literally, it was fight week we spoke. And it was almost like, forget about the boxing. This is more about a battle of tattoos. And he thought he won that as well. You're covered, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, for me, my tattoo thing started when I was like 17 years old. So if I could go back, I wouldn't have none. But when you're young, you want to do certain things. I didn't listen to my mom and dad. They said, don't do it. It's going to be there forever. You don't want to do it. You're going to change your mind when you're old. But me being me, I do what I want. And then I did what I want, and it is what it is. So some tattoos I like and some I don't. But you know, you live and you learn, innit? That's life.
Did that fight give you the answers that you were looking for, or no?
What with Sam?
Yeah.
See, for me, like the Sam Eglinton fight, like I saw a guy at the track yesterday, and like I saw my friend as well. I see friends all the time, and a lot of my cousin bet like £1,000 that I was going to win. And I said, yo, cuz, he said the odds were too good, man. I was like, shit, if you win, like I'm nice. And I was like, yo, you should have phoned me beforehand. Because even my coaches going into I said to my coaches, I don't give a fuck if I win or not. Like, I just want to fight here. It's my good, it was Hearn tried to get me to fight Josh like for 2 years straight. He tried to get me to fight O'Hara. Like, if I had fought those fights, those would have been my goodbye fights then. But my world tour was just me bullshitting around the world, just having fun. And so this was as I said, this was my homecoming fight that I had wanted from when I left Mayweather Promotions in 2018. 2018? Yeah. So I had been waiting to get my goodbye fight for years. And even after my last fight in my world tour, where I fought in Denmark, like that was a year ago. And I basically was retired then. I had achieved my 50 pro wins. So I I had done everything I had wanted to do. I had fought and won 12 countries. I got my wins. I've been with Floyd. I've done everything. I've been British champion. I've done everything. So there's nothing more for me to do. So when I fought Sam, even Sam knew, because me and Sam would do our interviews together, and Sam would say that he wants to beat me because he wants to fight for the world. He wants to at least fight for the world before he retires. And if he beats me, I'm a good name to have. Like, and I said, if I beat Sam, it don't mean shit to me. It's just another name on my record. Like, I've already achieved what I've achieved. Like, if I beat Sam, great, I beat Sam. But now what? I'm retired. So it would have been cool. You go off on a win. But for my career, I haven't fought for a year. I'm an old man. Like it don't mean even that he beat me. It don't really mean much that he beat me. I'm way past my prime. Like, yeah, you got the name on your thing as it happens. But so for me, I kind of knew, I went into that fight knowing that like this was it. Like, you know what I mean? Because you have to think since I left Mayweather Promotions, and even after I fought AB, this was the first real fight I had since AB. So that's like 4 years. Like 4 years. It was like the first real fight I had in 4 years. So, and I'm an older man. So it would have been great to have won, but realistically, as we get older, I'm not gonna get better. You know what I mean? So I kind of went there. I wanted my home car fight. I wanted my goodbye fight, and I wanted my payoff, my goodbye payoff. So, name it. I haven't got no complaints. Hence, I wasn't sad like a lot of my friends or my family sad I lost. I wasn't sad because I went in there knowing what it was. Like like we spoke about my career. Like I've done so much and lived the life that I never would dream of. Like coming from, I could have had a life of jailing in and out of jail to what I've done. Like I'm cool. Like yeah,
incredible.
Yeah, like I'm cool. I ain't got no complaints. And
so
Sam was actually cool as well. He seemed like a nice guy. So I could have fought Josh, I could have fought Ben, but I kind of prefer to lose to Sam because Sam has actually achieved more than them. He's been British, Commonwealth, and European champ. So I lost to a guy that's not trying to prove if he's good. Go. Now he's actually done shit. So for me to lose to Sam, like there's no shame because he's actually good and can fight.
Good guy as well, mate. Good fella. Right, so moving on then to we're near the end now. So you talked about we've talked about a hell of a lot. How's your battery? Is your battery all right?
I'm like the Furies. I can talk.
So you started out by saying about where you were in your life in terms of Paddington, etc., etc. Now you've done all this. You've had this incredible journey. Took you all across the world. Now you come home. You want to give back to your community by opening your gym.
Oh yeah. So basically, so this was where I was when I had the last fight of my world tour. Like when I achieved my 50th professional win. Like I was basically done then, and I had started to make moves to open up my own gym. And but then March came, and then everything got shut down. So my thing is, All Stars has helped me change my life. And All Stars has helped so many other kids like change their life. And I see so many gyms that you got Anthony Jar, you got AJ. He wants, he helped him become, a star, and it's helped so many guys. So I just would like to have my own gym that can help these kids change their life, or just help kids. Just say anyway. So that's kind of like my goal now, and that's why as well I wanted to take my last fight. So that's why as well my last fight was great because I done interviews with everyone. So I got to give it. I got to use my voice to let folks know what I want to do with this gym and whatever. So for me yeah, like it was great. Like it was great to help me get my voice out to get this gym. So for me, I would like to open up some gyms around where I'm from, and then I would like to bring one to the USA.
I knew you were going to say
because that's home. That's my home away from home. I've got to bring one to the USA.
Right, mate. That's us done. And now what we like to do is just finish up with a couple of questions, a few questions from the followers, yeah? Some of them can be really weird. Yours are pretty decent, if I'm honest. Yours are all right. So
where you get them from? Who asked them? Who asked them? Where you get these questions from?
From private message on Instagram. They come
Okay. All right.
So I'll let a few select people know who I'm interviewing. I don't always put it all out until later. And then they send some stuff through. So, Bazza, I know you're a massive Spurs fan. Which players stand out over the years?
Well, my favorite player now is Son. I think that Son is our star guy. But of all time, is Paul Gascoigne. I love Paul Gascoigne. He's as a kid, we won the FA Cup. So for me, we Paul, but we've had some great players throughout the years. So there's so many that you could choose. But yeah, we're gonna go with that. Paul Gascoigne.
All right, good answer. Raver wants to know, is there a moment in the Mayweather gym that stands out as a great memory?
I think the Mayweather gym, I think we had a lot of fun there, and it was very weird being in the Mayweather gym. You had to shut off because sometimes there were some guys that just wanted to have fun like all day, and then you just either had to come in early to work hard. But I wouldn't say, you know what stands out? Like some of the crazy gym wars, like because there were some crazy gym wars, and I think a lot of like that kind of stands out. So, because Showtime was even sued once because of one that got aired. So, yeah. So that stands out.
All right, mate. The last question from the followers is from Desi. He wants to know, which is apart from the USA and England, which is the favourite place you've boxed? Because you box all over the world, haven't you?
I'm going to say Ghana. I had so much fun. Like, Ghana was cool because they treated me like I was from there. So they made me, again, they done like the USA thing. They made me feel at home. And when you're in a strange land, you're a bit nervous. That kind of helps you when, you know what I'm saying? They treat you well. So Dubai was fun, but Dubai was fun because that was my friend's promotion. So Badu Jack, he put on his show, and I enjoyed it because it was nice that a lot of the guys from the USA, they flew over there to support him and stuff. So it's nice to kind of see my good friends from the USA, like in Dubai, supporting my friend who's put on a show, and he put on a very good show. So so that was nice as well. So I was kind of proud of him. I fought on the show, but I was proud of him. I was like, wow, like you done all this, like it's great. So yeah.
Them too. Good stuff. Right, last question, the most important question of all from me. What are your top 3 chocolate bars?
Caramac.
Oh, got you straight in there.
Yeah, I'm Caramac. That's my favorite. Like that's great. And then white chocolate. I like white chocolate. But then I say what is the caramel one as well? The caramel inside of it. The caramel.
Or just caramel in it?
Yeah, okay, yeah. So I'm not a big chocolate fan. I love sweets, but I'm not a big chocolate fan. So that's, those are the ones like if I'm in the mood, I eat them. But yeah, I have to be in the mood. But sweets, I can eat sweets all day, every day.
Listen, this has been great.
My favorite biscuits is hobnobs. Like chocolate hobnobs. I got a pack there now, so afterwards, that's what I'm gonna eat. So yeah.
My wife lives on them. Honestly, she loves them. With a cup of tea.
My whole pack now.
Gotta be a cup of tea.
Okay.
One dip. Ashley, thank you very much for your time, mate. It's been amazing. Appreciate all your honesty and stuff. It's been great, and we'll catch up soon. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, bye-bye.